Welcome, everyone, to this episode of the Happy Diabetic Kitchen Podcast. I'm your host, Chef Robert Lewis, and in this episode, we've got an amazing interview about a very special young lady who has learned to fall in love with cooking at home again, turning ordinary ingredients into something extraordinary. Grab your favorite beverage, sit back, and enjoy. We will be right back. I am Chef Robert Lewis, the Happy Diabetic, and welcome to the internet's most delicious cooking podcast. I'm here in the kitchen getting ready to explore a healthy diabetic lifestyle. I want to take the mystery out of healthy cooking and explore some amazing foods and my diabetic journey with all my successes and my challenges. Let me help you live your best happy diabetic lifestyle. So welcome to the kitchen, and if you're new to the show, I am so happy you're here today. Happy New Year, everybody. Welcome to the Happy Diabetic Kitchen Podcast, and we are excited to start this New Year's off with an amazing episode. I just want to share with you very quickly, my grandson, Isaac, who is a chess phenom, taught me the art of CPR: capture, protect, and run away. And if you're a chess player, you clearly understand that. But for me, that was a very new concept. So I want to relate that to my journey with diabetes. For sure, I think about capturing all the information that I can learn about my disease from eating, from medicine, to the latest technologies like CGMs, and of course, adding exercise to the component of diabetes health is super, super important. And then part of CPA, capture, protect, is run away. So that's what I'm going to really be careful to run away from the behaviors that don't help me live my best happy diabetic lifestyle. And for everybody, that could be very different. For me, it's certainly the way I eat, or my portion controls, or not taking my medicines when I should. So I'm going to run away from those bad behaviors. Capture, protect, and run away. Thank you, Noah, for those inspiring chess strategies that I'm going to apply to my diabetic lifestyle. Because we know that living with diabetes is all about process. It's an in process with baby steps and strategies, ways to stay healthy. And that's why I'm so excited that you're here today in the kitchen with me, learning together. That's what this is all about. So again, Happy New Year, everybody. So happy that you're here. If you have any information or questions or want to chat with me, reach out to me at happydiabetic.com. Simply hit the Work With Me link and reach out. I would love to chat with you about your challenges, your successes, and your diabetic lifestyle. One of my personal goals for you in the kitchen is to help you fall in love with cooking at home. Finding the right tools, finding the right motivation, the right foods that you love, so that you can be motivated to cook delicious, healthy foods in your kitchen whenever you choose to do that. So today on the podcast, we have a very special guest. This is someone who has fallen in love with cooking again, and maybe in even some regards for the very first time at home. And she's done an incredible job taking care of her family, her husband, and making sure, even her dog Ruby, and making sure that she's got foods that are not only healthy, but fresh, delicious, and the best part of all, low cost, simple recipes, easy and delicious. When we come back, it'll be the interview of the podcast. Stay tuned, everybody. You know, we will be right back. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the kitchen. In this episode of the Happy Diabetic Kitchen Podcast, we've got a special guest, and I've invited this special guest on today because she's made some changes in her kitchen to eat healthier, cook more at home. And again, the theme of this particular episode is learning to love to cook at home, either again or for the first time. So, welcome to the podcast. Let me introduce my special guest, Lauren. Welcome.
Hey, thank you for having me.
I got a quick question to ask you. Are you ready to get happy?
Oh, I'm ready. So I was born ready.
So, Lauren, tell all the happy diabetics out there who you are and maybe a little bit why you're here today.
Well, yes, my name is Lauren Rostron. Before I was a Rostron, I was a Lewis. And 35 years ago, was born into the Robert Lewis Happy Diabetic Chef family. Robert Lewis is my dad.
That was a great day for me, by the way.
What day was that, by the way?
Keep going. Tell us more.
I like to tease you sometimes about remembering all the dates.
I know.
So I live in Minneapolis with my family, my husband, my 2 kiddos, my delicious wrinkly puppy dog, Ruby. And I, as people might imagine, grew up loving food, loving to eat because my dad was a chef, a really amazing one. And so eating and coming around the table and enjoying a delicious meal was just a lifestyle for me. It's just something I love. And so it wasn't long ago that my husband and I realized that we were going to go broke and get really not very healthy if we kept eating out all the time. So we needed to figure out how to love cooking in our kitchen. So we have totally transformed the way that we eat just by getting more comfortable with cooking and enjoying the food that we make at home.
Challenging, though, with a busy lifestyle, right?
Yes, we have 2 kids, 8 and 10, and well, now 11. We have 2 kids, 8 and 11, and I would say that it is busy at our house. We're always running from one place to another, going to basketball, going to play practice, working 2 full-time jobs. So we are always busy, and yes, it is challenging. But I have found that the more familiar I get, the more comfortable I am in my kitchen, the easier it is, the faster it is, and the more delicious it is.
So let's talk about the cost, because you brought up the cost of carry out and DoorDash and bringing food in and going out to eat. What do you think the difference is when you're thoughtfully thinking about creating delicious, healthy meals at home opposed to rolling through the drive-thru or getting carry out?
Yeah, one thing we really became aware of was that we would order our favorite meals on DoorDash or we would get takeout and we would end up eating them, maybe having leftovers, not really, oftentimes throwing things out. The food waste was really obvious. And when we were combing through our budget, we realized that for the price of one carryout meal, we could do a really amazing week of delicious meals at home. So we got really creative with how to prep our meals and what proteins to use so that we could reuse them in other recipes throughout the week. And we were amazed at how high quality the food we were eating felt, and just as delicious, if not more, than our local restaurants.
Now, I've been to your kitchen, and I noticed.
Do you approve? Do you like it?
It's a lovely kitchen.
It's so
awesome.
cute.
So awesome. Tell us about the equipment that you use to cook with, because I've noticed some things on your countertop that you say has kind of revolutionized the way you cook at home.
Yes. The 2 things that come to mind right away are our crock pot and our air fryer. Those 2 things are probably the most used appliances in our kitchen. We actually just keep our crock pot out on the countertop, which we never would have done before. But we use it that often. So we'll oftentimes use our crock pot to make a really large quantity of protein, whether it's chicken or whatever it is. And that we will use throughout the week. And then we love our air fryer for veggies and lots of other things, but then also to reheat leftovers. It's just like the best way to do that. So we love those things.
Awesome. So Lauren, let me ask you this question. When you're cooking or when you started to really embrace it's time to eat at home more often, did you cook with family or friends or did you invite people over? And is that an important part about cooking at home and getting excited about that?
Yeah, 100%. I think that um one of the biggest factors in me learning to love to cook and learning to love to cook in my kitchen was the confidence that I would build after sharing a meal that I made and hearing the positive feedback. So it is not to be understated how important it is to share the food that you are making with people so that you can hear them tell you how delicious it is so that you feel more confident to keep going. Because I feel like I have grown so much as a chef this year because I'm getting more and more confident. I've had people say, "Oh, you are super, super good at salads," or "Oh my gosh, I love when you do tacos," and that kind of thing. It just builds my confidence. So every time I make that thing, I feel a little bit stronger. I feel a little bit closer to my dad, the famous chef.
On good days. So, and again, I don't think you should be intimidated cooking for friends, right?
No,
I mean, start simple, start easy,
totally.
and have fun. That's the whole idea.
Absolutely.
I think another part of learning to love to cook at home, either for the first time or falling in love with it again, is you need a basic toolkit of stuff. Not expensive stuff, but you've mentioned the air fryer, you've mentioned the crock pot. What are some other things that you really love using in your kitchen that you would recommend for people, if they don't have, to have some in the realm of basic cooking items?
Yeah, totally. I have really simple but important tools that I like to use for everything. So I have my favorite knife to use when I'm cutting tomatoes, and I have a different favorite knife to use when I'm cutting proteins like chicken. And I love a specific strainer when I'm straining vegetables or cleaning vegetables or straining pasta, that kind of thing. And so I feel like knowing where everything is, keeping it in a place where you can use it easily. And for me, it took some organizing to go through my drawer of spatulas and just figure out what's the two that I use the most. And I donated the rest to my local Goodwill, because the truth is you don't need your kitchen full of every gadget that you've ever collected from every pampered chef party you've been to.
Have you looked in my drawers?
Yes.
I need help.
I felt inspired after looking through your drawers.
I have a lot of stuff in my drawers.
You have a lot of stuff. But I feel like as long as you know what it's for and you're using it for what you need, that's great. But for me, it was really important to know I don't need 20 wooden spoons. I need two really good ones that I love. And I think those tools are really important just to know. I love my pans. I got new pans from you guys for Christmas a couple years ago. They're the best. And so you just know what pans you use for different things, and you get more confident when you just have your specific things that you can count on.
Mm-hmm. I also think exploring foods with simple ingredients. I think start with familiar, easy to handle ingredients, some basics, things that you can gain confidence with, and then gradually incorporate some new items to broaden your culinary skills.
Mm-hmm.
What about you? What are some simple ingredients that are kind of your go-to items that you started with? And then let's talk about what more advanced ingredients you use today.
Yeah. So I always like to think like if I was going to I always like to think if I was going to a restaurant right now, what would I order from the menu? If I could just go to DoorDash, what would I order for takeout? And if my answer was, I would order a delicious pasta, well, then I already feel motivated to make myself the most delicious pasta. I know this is silly, but I even pretend in my head like I'm on a cooking show while I'm cooking it, because then I feel like I'm in the zone. I get the music going, I pour the wine, and I think, okay, if I'm doing pasta, that's going to be my base. Then I'm going to decide, do I want protein? Do I want a sauce? Do I want to make my own sauce? And I just get creative with it. Does it always work out? Absolutely not. But I learn every single time. I learned one time not to put the citrus in too early because the sauce broke. And so now I know better. So Or if I'm thinking about protein, I'll start with whatever protein it is I want to make. Do I want that to be shredded? So I might put it in the crock pot. Do I want to have a sear on it and slice it up? I feel like start with the inspiration. What are you hungry for? What do you want to do from there? And just kind of slowly build out. It doesn't have to be super complicated.
Do you have I'm going to ask that again. Do you have like go-to ingredients that you really love?
Yeah. I oftentimes am going through pasta. I like to start with a grain or some sort of like pasta or rice. Because then I can always build on top of that. You can do so many different flavor profiles with that. I also really do love, I know this is like pretty basic to start, but I will almost every single week do a bag of frozen chicken in my crock pot, cook it down all day long, lightly season it so that it's delicious, but it's not one flavor profile over another. And then I'll take a little bit and I'll turn that into chicken tacos. And then the next day, I might make it into a chicken salad for lunch and eat out of that for the week for lunches. So you can use there's a lot of different things you can do with one big ingredient.
Mm-hmm. I love garlic. I love rosemary.
Mm-hmm.
I love olive oil. I love avocado oil. Those are some of my favorite go-to ingredients. And I love chicken. So versatile, right?
Yeah.
So amazing. Matter of fact, I just put up on the website, happydiabetic.com, my chicken shawarma recipe. We talked about that a couple episodes back on our trip to Israel. And so that's up on the website. Check that out. I think you're really, really going to like it.
I also want to say tomatoes are such a versatile ingredient. We always have cherry tomatoes in our fridge because you can cut them up and have them as like a topping. You can roast them in the oven and have them kind of burst and make them delicious to go with the pasta. You can cook them down and make them into a sauce. So I feel like that's like a tomatoes and onion is always we never, ever, ever throw those out.
I love it. I love it. So when people are learning to cook or starting to cook, I always recommend find yourself some simple step-by-step recipes. Choose recipes with clear instructions. There's so many great online platforms like, of course, happydiabetic.com. A lot of great recipes there. But there's great recipes everywhere. Just make sure they're well tested. But I think starting from a very basic step-by-step procedure will help you be successful in your kitchen. What do you think about that?
I think, quite honestly, this is the biggest thing. I think this is the most important thing. For me, I need inspiration before I start. I'm not going to just like sit in my kitchen and find the inspiration. I am a visual person, so I love to scroll through, find a recipe. I hate to say it, but TikTok is a great place for this. Find a recipe that looks delicious that you would want to eat right now, and then take it back. They usually will break it down for you step by step. Use the pictures to your advantage. Follow along. I cannot even tell you how many times I have followed along a video in my kitchen and watched somebody do something a million times on loop so that I could do it while I was cooking, or I'd pause until the next step and then press play. And I feel like that's great inspiration. You can see someone making it, and it inspires you as you're cooking along. So find the videos, read the reviews. I always read the reviews on a blog post about a recipe before I make it, because almost always everyone who's tried it before you will tell you like way too much garlic or not enough cooking time. That kind of thing can save you a lot of headache too. That's
an excellent point. So I think for me, I encourage people to, I'm going to do that again. Another step that I think is highly recommended by me is embrace some trial and error. Don't fear mistakes. They're part of the learning process. What do you say to that?
Yeah, I'm the queen of that. I mean, Dad, do you remember one time for your birthday? I think I was in like 5th grade. It was your birthday, and I wanted to make you breakfast in bed, and I made you pancakes. Do you remember this?
I do. I think I do.
I brought them up to you in bed, and I was like, I made you pancakes from scratch, not like a mix. And you took a bite, and you were like, you're so nice. This is delicious. And then you said, tell me about what you put in here. And then I was like, yeah, there's flour and egg. And I don't even remember. And I was like, and baking powder. And you said, baking powder or baking soda? And obviously I had mixed up the two and put like a whole cup of baking soda in. And they were some funky pancakes. You were so sweet. But guess what? I never made that mistake again. I am 35, and every time I bake, I double check, am I using baking soda or baking powder? And the reality is every single mistake you make is just one step closer to being a better chef. So yeah, I embrace it. And my family just knows I'll be the first to be like, this is funky. We're not eating this. But for the most part, I feel like, I'm gaining experience each time, so it's good.
Lauren, all I remember about those pancakes is they were amazing.
You're so nice.
So, we're coming to the end of our interview here, or end of our time together for this event. But I have to ask you a question. What are like? Where is prep? Where does that? So, Lauren, we're coming to the end of our moments together, and I have a quick question about where does prep fall in successfully cooking at home? You know, the preparation. Is there a lot of that? Do you think ahead? Do you shop wisely? How does that look at the Rota home?
Yeah, for me, it always starts with the inspiration first. So I'm looking online. I'll think, okay, I need to go to the grocery store for this week's meals. And I do like to do it weekly because anything longer than that, I'm just like, those ingredients are not going to be fresh and they're not going to be well thought out. And I'm always buying things I don't need that way. So I try to go to the grocery store more often for less things at each time. And I start with the inspiration and I think, what sounds delicious this week? Then I look up the recipes like we talked about step by step. I try to find them, the videos, the pictures, whatever. And then I make my grocery list and I really try to find recipes that can be used together. So if I make 2 chicken things in 1 week, I get a bunch of chicken and make it all at once. But it always starts with a little bit of inspiration, then a really well thought out grocery store trip, and then you get to work.
I love going to the grocery store.
Me too.
It's like therapy.
Yeah, well, you raised me to love it because we used to go together and it was so fun. Yeah.
Well, Lauren, thanks for being on the podcast today. Anything else you want to chat about?
Well, I just want to say thank you for being my dad and being the best chef of the world, and no one loves you more than me.
No one loves you more than me. All right, everybody, stay tuned because when we come back, Lauren is going to play the rapid fire 411 game. So, thank you, Lauren, for being on the podcast.
Thank you.
We will be right back. Okay, welcome back, everybody. Lauren Rota in the kitchen today. Lauren, are you ready to play our rapid fire round? We call it the 411 game. Ooh. It's fun, and we have exciting prizes.
Okay.
So I'm going to ask you a series of rapid fire questions.
All right.
And you simply choose your preference.
Let's
For
go.
example, butter or olive oil, riding a bike or hiking, cats or dogs. Okay?
Love.
You got it?
Got it.
Let's do this. Olive oil or coconut oil?
Olive oil.
Mango or pineapple?
Pineapple.
Waffles or pancakes?
Ooh, waffles.
Broccoli or Brussels sprouts?
Ooh, Brussels sprouts, made them yesterday. A little yummy glaze on top in the air fryer. Let's go.
Oh my gosh, love it.
Mm-hmm.
Smooth peanut butter or chunky?
Oh, sorry. I'm so sorry to do this because I'm basically not even your daughter, but I'm saying creamy.
Yeah.
I know.
Everybody out there knows I'm a chunky dude.
Oh, yeah.
Valentine's Day or St. Patrick's Day?
Ooh, my birthday? Neither? I guess Valentine's Day.
Okay. Well, yeah, whatever. This is okay. Superhero or supervillain?
Ooh, superhero.
Roller coasters or
Never.
merry-go-rounds?
Totally merry-go-rounds.
Okay. Lauren, finally, if you could break bread with anyone, past or present, who would that be and why would that be?
I have a million answers that I could say, but the first one that came to mind was my Nana Charlotte, your mom.
Okay.
If she could just come back to life, I would love to have one more potato latkes and matzo ball soup meal with her.
She would love it, and I would love to cook for both of you.
And lox and bagels, if we can. Extra capers and red onions, please. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, Lauren, once again, thanks for being on the podcast. It was
Thank you.
great. Will you come back?
Heck yeah. Have me anytime.
And maybe we can even cook in your kitchen and
Let's
we'll do a
do
live
it.
episode.
Oh, I'm down. 100%.
All right, Lauren, no one loves you more than me.
No one loves you more than me.
Have a great day, and thanks again for coming
Love you, Dad.
on. Love you, Lauren. If you're loving what you hear in the kitchen, please share this podcast with your friends, family, and anyone you know living with diabetes. Type 1, type 2, or my favorite, the type 3, that wonderful, loving support person. Please leave a comment or feedback wherever you listen. It's super important. So I know exactly what you like and how I can make this the best podcast ever. Please reach out to me at my website, happydiabetic.com. Hit the contact link and share a recipe or a comment or a question. We want you to live your best happy diabetic life. Thanks again for listening. This podcast is not intended to replace any professional medical advice. The views expressed in this podcast may not be those of the host or the Happy Diabetic Kitchen. Always seek medical advice from a registered certified dietitian, diabetic educator, or your doctor. I'm not a dietitian, a certified diabetic educator, or a doctor of any kind. Although I have 3 children, Attila, Dracula, and Frankenstein, that makes me a psychiatrist of sorts. Always consult your medical professional when making any changes to your lifestyle, diet, medication, or anything going on with your diabetes. The Happy Diabetic Kitchen is made from scratch, seasoned with love, cooked to perfection. Our theme music is by the Happy Diabetic Kitchen Band, and of course our kitchen mascots, our kitty cats, Scout and Tucker, who seem to always be wondering where their next meal comes from or taking a nap. And please remember this. This year, better than last year. This month, better than last month. This week, better than last week. And this day, today, better than yesterday. Thanks for tuning in, everyone, and let me leave you with this thought. Julia Child once said, "The only real stumbling block is fear of failure. In cooking, you've got to have a what the hell attitude." Thank you, Julia. I agree 100%. Thanks again for tuning in, everybody. This is going to be a spectacular year of cooking and love. Remember, no one loves you more than me.